Hey, so I wanted to make a video showing what Diablo's like in desktop mode. So treating the Steam Deck as if it's a dedicated gaming PC. So you can see it, it's not the greatest. I'm running this at all low settings. And I've locked the foreground and background FPS at 45, hoping that would help a bit. Let's try performance here to see if that helps, but I am running it at 1080. I have a 1440p monitor right now, but it's running at 1080, so that shouldn't affect the performance. Vertical sync is off. Basically everything that you can put on to increase the performance is on. Let's make it even a little bit better. We'll see if this increases our frame rate. Yeah, maybe it did. Yeah, it's not the fastest. Let's try one of these dungeons and see if once we get out of the open world, maybe it runs a little bit better. If you watch my other video, I leveled through the campaign with the Necromancer, but man, once you get to Nightmare difficulty, that thing just falls apart. The minions die immediately. There's some elite mobs that cast certain abilities that seem to hit very quickly, and it just obliterates everything. This is not too bad. I would say this is playable. I probably wouldn't want to do the entire campaign like this. Unfortunately, I'm not able to change the resolution to 720, it looks like. This is not changeable. Yeah. I guess let's try ultra performance and test this out. Maybe the frame rate will be a little bit better. So this looks, very bad. I would say this is not the best graphical gameplay. Yeah, that's rough. I'm not very good at reviewing that. I think that without the legendary, this tornado build kind of sucks. It's really, you have to build resources quite a bit before you can cast one tornado. It's not the most fun. I think, unfortunately for this game, a lot of the builds seem to have really big problems with resource starvation. I don't know anybody who enjoys that. I think that a lot of the builds in the game could use some quality of life. I'm hoping that they address that. Let me know if you've been playing this game and you've noticed the same thing, because, man, Rogue is kicking butt, and it doesn't really have a resource problem, and apparently the Ball Lightning Sorcerer doesn't really have a resource problem, but Necromancer certainly does. Druid is very bad. It's just constantly build, spend, and it takes forever. When I look at videos for the end game, it doesn't look like it gets much better. If you put hundreds of hours into it, maybe it'll get a lot better, but the leveling experience is, it's pretty rough so far, at least for level 20. I'm hoping that I get the Tornado Legendary, that when I cast a tornado, it heat seeks other enemies, and I won't need to be casting tornado so much, because sometimes it'll just completely miss. And that's something I'm going to make another video about as far as like builds for the Steam Deck. One of the advantages of the Steam Deck is, I'm just trying to put some Necromancer ability, is that some abilities that are targeted on PC, they really do lend themselves to the auto-targeting that the controller configuration built into this game allows. Like any corpse targeting ability on Necromancer was just much more enjoyable to use on the Steam Deck, or any controller for that matter, because I'll sometimes in the heat of battle be like missing corpses with my mouse, but on the Steam Deck, because it auto targets it, I don't have that issue. But on the Steam Deck or on any controller, I can't believe I got hit by that fear, it has a little reticle over an enemy's head when you're targeting it, And for some ability like a tornado or something, if it goes towards the wrong enemy that you didn't really want to hit, you're sitting there, building all over again. So you kill some white mob, but the elite you wanted to hit is still smashing you. It really, is kind of obnoxious. And the rogue seems to be the biggest offender, particularly with Shadow Step. So, ideally you're supposed to be using Shadow Step strategically to get in and out of battle. And if you're having a hard time getting the controller to target the correct enemy, it's frustrating, right? Like, I wouldn't say it's bad, it's just, it's not as good as the mouse and keyboard. So hopefully, maybe they can implement something like World of Warcraft does, where certain targets have a priority for your auto cursor. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but the explosive affix that's now dead, your tab targeting would prefer it. There's some kind of taxonomy that determines what your cursor will be selected and targeted and tab targeted first, like as a priority. And maybe they could add something like that into this game. Maybe they already have it and I haven't noticed it, but particularly on the Druid and the Rogue, it's a little bit harder to play it on the Steam Deck, and that's why I made that video about the Necromancer. But I'm going to make a follow-up video saying, hey, this is a great leveling build for the Steam Deck, it's fantastic, but unfortunately when you get to Nightmare difficulty, it's just not fun. You don't have any minions, they die immediately, and it just sucks. It's not a good build. Necromancer needs help. To be honest, I think that what they're going to get to eventually, and they're too stubborn to face it, is that at least the skeletal minions should not have HP. They should just be immortal, I think. And if you want to punish players for not prioritizing their minions, I think that maybe you could make the golem a lot more powerful and the golem can die. I think that that's maybe a good middle ground, but the game is balanced around you having your necro minions alive. And when they're dead, you're just, you're an NPC. Wow, look at how bad this looks. Oof. We're going to try to change DLSS and maybe get it to look better, because this looks like it's playing on a Game Boy, at least on my monitor. Maybe if you take it at a full screen mode on YouTube, it'll look a little bit better, but this is brutal. So, I'm able to play, like, this frame rate is playable. So if for whatever reason you were doing content that you didn't really want to do in handheld mode, and you only had the Steam Deck, it's not the end of the world, right? It looks like crap. I still think that playing in game mode is awesome. I like playing this game more on the Steam Deck in game mode than I do on my full gaming PC with a 3060 Ti. It's just much more fun for me. I enjoyed the story more. I was focusing on the story. I didn't have any distractions around. The Steam Deck's just, it's so good. It's better with Diablo IV than it is with WoW, and WoW is very good on the Steam Deck. So, and also Diablo IV, it's occasionally doesn't do that update issue with Battle.net. If you ever played a Battle.net game on the Steam Deck, it updates WoW every time. And sometimes it will skip that for Diablo, or if it attempts to update Diablo, it will happen very quickly. It'll update for maybe 10 seconds, and then it'll stop trying to update. So I don't know what they did, if they maybe took into account the Steam Deck for this game and they just didn't have the time for WoW or something, but the quality of life is a lot better, in my opinion, for this game on the Steam Deck, definitely. Some of the issues that I spoke about in my how does the game run on Steam Deck video, I have now come to realize that all of those issues are they're also on PC. Like, for instance, taking a long time to get into the character selection screen and just having a dark screen, that happens on PC. Actually, what I've noticed is the performance in a town, when it lags when there are other people around, that's actually worse on my PC that's plugged into an Ethernet cable than it is on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck has better performance in town, definitely. So all the bugs that are happening in Diablo are happening less intense on the Steam Deck, in my experience. I can't speak for everybody, but all the Steam Decks, other than the hard drive and the glass of the screen, are the same hardware. So I think that, if you're concerned about the performance obviously this is not a good example because we're playing a desktop mode, but in game mode, I have an easier time playing Diablo on the Steam Deck than I do on my PC, and I prefer it. So I played most of the campaign on the Steam Deck. Whenever something I'm not going to spoil it, but when important things were going to happen with respect to the campaign and I was playing on my PC, I would kind of sometimes stop and I would play on the Steam Deck just to experience it better. And to actually, if I was going to fight something that I thought was going to be difficult, I wanted to do it on the Steam Deck. I just felt like I had a better chance of surviving, at least on Necromancer, playing on the Steam Deck than I did playing on my PC. A lot of that had to do with what I was saying about the way that corpse targeting works. Slay all the enemies. Oh man, I missed that enemy. That was so fighting. And I'm actually, I haven't made up my mind if I like Druid and Rogue better on the Steam Deck. I think that, the shadow step things might be a major problem on the Steam Deck, and it's going to be a thing where you're going to perform much worse, possibly. I haven't, I'm only like level 10 with the Rogue, but it's possible that you're going to be severely handicapped playing with the controller or the Steam Deck with Rogue, specifically the Twisting Blade build, because of the way the shadow step works in my day. That. That's one thing about Druid is I can't tell whose poison is whose. Like, it's the exact same animation and color and everything. Could they seriously not have made my poison different than the enemy's poison? It's kind of dumb. So like, it's obvious when there's poison that's in a different area than my poison, but if they poison me right on top of my poison, it's literally invisible. You cannot see it. So hopefully they fix that too. But overall, I think this game really blew away my expectations. I didn't think that any game was going to be able to beat Path of Exile. I just thought that, maybe I'll play this, and if I really want an ARPG, I'll play a real one like Path of Exile. I think that the campaign on this game is the best campaign that maybe any game I've ever played. At least the story presentation. Like, I am not a lore daddy. I skip the story of every game I play. I skip most of Final Fantasy VII. It's like major story games, I don't care about the story. But the story in this game was just done so well, and I was like Googling, I'm not going to spoil it, but like there's things that are revealed about the lore of this universe that I was like Googling after to understand like what happened in the story before this, and the whole story of the history of the Diablo franchise. Like, it really got me invested in the major characters and the villains and stuff, and what their relationships were when they refer to things that happened in the lore. And it's cool that it's not hand-holding. It's not the level of like a Dark Souls where they don't tell you anything, but they sort of do like leave it up to you to go look up some of the references that they make about some of the characters in Diablo 2, and I don't know, at least some of the names of the items in Diablo 3 are referenced, the characters are referenced here. But look at how slow it is to kill this on World Tier 2. I'll upload a video later of the Rogue, and the Rogue just smashes everything. So this Druid leveling is really comparatively slow to the other classes that I've played. Let's see. But playing in desktop mode, this is completely doable. It's not the best looking graphics, but we just did a dungeon, and we didn't have any major lag spikes or slowdowns. It just, looks kind of ugly. And in town, you could see that it wasn't going very well. But hope you enjoyed this. I will continue to upload Blizzard games on the Steam Deck, and let me know if you want me to try anything else for Diablo.